seated, everyone. Good evening and welcome everyone here to First Unitarian Church. Welcome to this Winter Solstice service. We gather here in person in our chapel, and we gather virtually from many places to join as one community now. The solstice will officially come early on Sunday morning. Now, since we'll be having our annual Christmas pageant that morning, we're marking the solstice this evening. We gather now in anticipation of the longest night and the return of the light. Day by day, we'll see our days grow longer until we reach the summer solstice many months from now. But on this night, we embrace this time of turning, this time of transition. May we embrace the light and the dark and all that they bring. May our own flames be kindled by the flames of those around us. Words of Margaret Atwood entitled Solstice Poem. This is the solstice, the still point of the sun, its cusp and midnight, the year's threshold and unlocking, where the past lets go of and becomes the future, the place of caught breath, the door of a vanished house left ajar. Reverend Allison will light our chalice on our altar now. Now is the time, and now if you're at home, it's the time to light a candle of your own at home. We are Unitarian Universalists. We light this chalice in faith, in hope, and in love. In the pagan tradition, which is grounded in a respect and reverence for the natural world, calling upon the four directions is the usual way to begin any ceremony. Each direction is associated with an element of the natural world and represents some part of our human nature as well. The directions are not seen as separate and isolated, but rather as part of the interdependent system that makes up our world. Here on our altar, we have the symbolic elements of each direction, and we will travel through the meanings associated with each direction before entering into a time of meditation. I invite you to now stand in body or in spirit as we face the directions. We will begin in the east, so we will look towards the back of the chapel. We begin in the east, toward the rising sun. The element of the east is air, represented on our altar by a feather. Air and breath give us life. It is the direction of inspiration, the word that literally means to take in air. The east is associated with the mind, with knowledge and learning and intellectual curiosity. Imagine the birds turning and wheeling in the air. Imagine the breeze blowing through your hair. Turning toward the east, we look for a fresh start, an invigorating breath, a new idea. When you are feeling stuck in a rut, beholden to a routine, or if the wind has gone out of your sails, look eastward. We move now toward the wheel to the south, to this direction. The element of the south is fire, and in the southern place on our altar, the flame of our candles burns bright. Fire is a transformative force. It is heat and light and powerful change. In the northern hemisphere, it makes sense that we associate the south towards the equator with the warmth of the sun and the heat of the flame. We see birds move south. We see butterflies move south. Whales move south, seeking warmer places when the weather gets cold. When our internal weather gets cold, turning south is a metaphor for turning inward toward warmth and daylight, seeking out the changes that will warm us up and get our blood moving. Call us out of our winters, out of our hibernation, and into action. Continuing the circle, we arrive now at the west, facing forward. The element of the west is water, and here on our altar we have vessels of water. In the west, we are drawn into the experience of our emotions. It is a direction that calls us to self-reflection and self-understanding. Our emotions move us like water, flowing through our lives, sometimes calm and sometimes turbulent, but always flowing. When we dam up our feelings, just like when we dam up a river, the pressure builds until it finds an outlet. If you are seeking to get in touch with your inner life, with your emotions, turn towards the west. We move now to the north. The element of the north is earth, represented here by stones on our altar. There is stability here, the ground of our being. The north represents the place that holds us, that allows us time and space to heal and grow, to feel nurtured and respected. It is also the place of embodiment, of connecting with our physical self, with the concrete, tangible world around us. The north calls to you if you are seeking balance, the deep wisdom that lives in our bones, a place of rest and a place of recovery. May these elements ground us in this time of turning. May they sustain us in the dark, also as we turn toward the light. I invite you now to face forward again and remain standing as we join in our responsive reading.
The words are by Rebecca Parker, Winter Solstice. Perhaps for a moment, the typewriters will stop clicking, the wheels stop rolling, the computers desist from computing, and a hush will fall over the city. For an instant, in the stillness, the chiming of the celestial spheres will be heard as Earth hangs poised in the crystalline darkness and then gracefully tilts. Let there be a season when holiness is heard and the splendor of living is revealed. Stunned to stillness by beauty, we remember who we are and why we are here. There are inexplicable mysteries. We are not alone. In the universe, there moves a wild one whose gestures alter Earth's axis toward love. In the immense darkness, everything spins with joy. The cosmos enfolds us. We are caught in a web of stars, cradled in a swaying embrace, rocked by the holy night, babes of the universe. Let this be the time we wake to life, like spring wakes in the moment of winter solstice.
Please be seated. Thank you, choir. As we approach the longest night of the year, we become well acquainted with darkness. After the long days of summer, we welcomed the autumn rains. We relished in the invitation to slow down. Winter is here with us now, and we're grateful for the gifts that it has brought us. As we turn towards longer days, we are in a liminal time, a time of openness, a time of turning. In this turning comes an invitation to look back as well as to look forward, to let go of what has been, and to make space for what we hope this time of light returning will bring. To mark this turning, I'd like to invite you now to join in a ritual with stones and with water, to make a space for something that you'd like to let go of, something you'd like to give to the dark. Is there a burden that you've been longing to let go of? Is there something that's been holding you back? I'd invite you to reflect for a moment on what that might be for you, and then to make space to hold an intention as the light returns, an intention of what might be unfolding, something you are hoping for with the return of the light. Now here's how it will work. In front of us is a table with the elements, and in front of it are two large vessels of water. We're going to be coming forward. As you come forward, I invite you to take a stone. Steve's guarding the stones right now. As you approach, take a stone that represents that which you would like to let go of, and come forward and drop that in one of the vessels of water. Think of what you might be letting go of as you drop that stone there. And then once you've done that, take another stone from the bowls on the altar. Take that stone and carry it with you to represent that which you want to carry forward in this time of light, and that the intention that you hold. May that represent something new for you, something you want to make manifest, representing change that you'd like to make in this time of turning, of transition. Now, for those who might be watching from home, I invite you to take a stone or some object that might be around you and hold that stone or that object and reflect on what you'd like to let go of, as well as what you'd like to bring into this new season. Now, the choirs lined up in the back, they're going to come down first, and I'd like to invite everyone to come down the center aisle. The ushers will release us row by row. Take the stone you want, representing what you want to let go of, drop in the vessel, and then go down the side aisles back to your seat. We'll take time to do this together. Let us begin. Let's have the choir come forward first. Let's remain seated as we sing together our next hymn, Dark of Winter.
I invite you to settle in for a winter's tale. Raven steals the light. In the time before Raven made the stars, and before Tupilak stole the moon and the sun, everyone lived on this side of the sky. Tupilak was a magician with a high cone hat and shoes that allowed him to walk miles in one single step. Raven lived in his cozy snow hut at the edge of that village. One harsh winter, when the snow froze the very earth, Tupilak put on his high cone hat and his magic shoes. He walked up to the sky and used his power to cut a hole in it. Then he climbed through and built himself a house on the other side. His wife argued with him. "What are you doing?" she cried. "All of our friends are on this side of the sky. If we live on the other side, we will be completely alone." "You can go back and visit," he assured her. "I don't want to visit. I want to be here, right next to everyone and everything. I don't want to live alone." "What do you mean, live alone?" said Tupilak. "You'll be living with me, and we'll have children, and the whole thing will be much more comfortable. Why, everyone else will want to visit you." "But no one has your magic, Tupilak. They won't be able to come." "Oh, probably some of them do," he said, and he persisted in his plan. He carried from the first world all his magical tools. His wife, sighing with resignation, carried a stash of frozen seal meat. After they had settled as best as they could, and had even had a beautiful daughter, Tupilak could see that his wife was still sad and dissatisfied. In order to please her, he had an idea. He would steal the light. He climbed back through the hole in the sky and walked in his magic shoes straight to the top of the sky, then into each of 2 strong bags, wrapping the necks of the bags tight with sinew rope. He crammed the moon and the sun. He pushed the bags back through the hole and hooked them high on the ceiling of his house, letting out the light only when he chose to do so. Now, the world on this side of the sky had no light at all. Because Raven loved to sleep, he hardly noticed. Whenever he awoke and saw that it was still dark, he would snuggle back into his black feathered coat and sleep again. He dreamed of steaming globs of fat, don't we all at this time? Of collecting bright new treasures and of turning breathtaking somersaults. But the people on this side of the sky were puny and tired with a lack of light and food. They didn't even have the strength to wonder anymore where Tupilak and his wife had gone. Finally, the people came to Raven and called weakly at his door. His dreams interrupted, Raven immediately thought of Tupilak. He picked his way through his hoard of shiny things that he'd already found and poked out his head. Raven, the sun never comes out anymore, and there's no moon either. We're running out of food. Raven heard the despair in all of their voices. I'll bet Tupilak is behind all this, he muttered. Out loud, he promised the people that he would try to find the sun. And the moon, they said. The moon, too, he assured them. A pretty puzzle, thought Raven. This is going to be a long journey. So he took as big a bag of food as he could carry, and in another bag, several good-sized rocks. Then, increasingly roused at the idea of outwitting Tupilak, Raven pulled down his beak, drew on his black winged coat, and soared into that freezing night sky. Whenever he needed to rest, Raven dropped a rock from his pack back into the endless dark waters below. The rock changed kerplash into an island on which Raven could perch, gobbling down suppers, huddled in his warm feather coat until he was ready to fly again. Finally, he came to the hole in the sky made by Tupilak's magic. When Raven stepped through, he found himself dazzled by the sunlight on the other side of the hole, for Tupilak had let the sun out of its bag for the day. The sky there was blue. A pool of water glistened, and plants poked green and red and pink from the brown earth. Raven saw Tupilak in the distance, unmistakable in that high cone hat, soaking up the yellow heat. Raven coughed. Tupilak squinted. Is that you, Raven, he called. None other, said Raven. What do you want, said Tupilak. The sun and the moon. Tupilak laughed. Not a chance, Raven. They're mine now. You're a thief, said Raven. Takes one to know one, said Tupilak, and he stuffed the sun back into its bag. I'm going to get them back, Tupilak yelled Raven into the darkness. Tupilak let out the moon and the sun several times while Raven, munching and dozing, cast about with one idea and then another, trying to form a plan. Then, in the midst of the sunshine, Raven was startled by the appearance of a strong, round, lovely-cheeked maiden making her way down to the pool with a water jug in her hand. Could this be Tupilac's wife? Could she possibly have grown younger in all this light? Ah, no, it must be their daughter. In fact, she carried herself with the confidence of a magician's child. Raven blinked. All at once, he knew his trick. He quickly balled up his black winged coat, pushed it under a rock, and turned himself into a tiny feather, floating on the still pool. Tupilac's daughter sat dreamily at the pool's edge. Raven Feather trembled with expectation. He had a long time to wait, however, because the young woman sang softly to herself, bathed her feet and face in the pool, and then, musing and sighing, combed out her long black hair. But she dipped her jug, and Raven swirled himself inside. His heart leapt with the perfection of the moment when the woman took from its lip a deep drink before beginning her walk home. Jubilantly, Raven Feather slipped down her throat. That trick, that plan was working. Sometime later, Tupilac's daughter gave birth to a huge baby boy whose mother and grandmother and grandfather were overjoyed. All the pent-up energy of these three, alone for so long on the other side of the sky, they poured into that new little boy, who, unbeknownst to them, was Raven in disguise. His mother nursed him and played with him. His grandmother doted on him, and Tupilac adored him. Raven, inside his baby form, was careful to cry and pester for lots and lots of things so that his little family would get used to giving him exactly what he wanted. He bided his time, however, before he would ask for those big bags of light that hung from the ceiling. One day, his mother noticed a bump on the baby's forehead. "Ooh, you've fallen, little one," she crooned, and she nuzzled him and pressed ice to that bump. But Raven knew then that his beak was beginning to bulge and that he didn't have very much more time. Very soon, after he cried for that moon bag on the ceiling, "Shh, baby, shh. That's Grandpa's bag," said his mother, and she dangled tasty morsels before him. Raven, of course, ate them ravenously. Pleased that her child was eating so well, she bounced him on her knee, calling forth raucous laughter from her round little boy. But soon he began to wail, waving his chubby little hands upward, pouring out rivers of tears. This time, his grandmother fed him, changed him, and played the bouncing game, but always his sobbing began again. His mouth gasping for air between the heaves of his chest, his little finger pointing at that bag on the ceiling. "Papa's out," said Tupilac's daughter to her mother. "Let's let him have it. What can it hurt? It's tied tightly enough." Tupilac's wife rolled her eyes. "It would serve him right, don't you think, if the thing got out?" So Raven, hiccuping and giggling with joy, was given the moon bag to play with. In seconds, the little boy's face looked round and placid as the moon itself. His mother and grandmother rocked back on their heels, enjoying the sweet silence and the happiness of their little seal pup. The minute their attention wandered, however, Raven unknotted the sinew sure as if he'd had beak and claws, clapping and screeching as the moon sailed out, bouncing through the smoke hole like a ball of blubber. Tupilak came rushing back to the house when he saw the moon rolling through the tear in the sky. "Who touched my bag?" he bellowed, but stopped short when his wife and daughter pointed to the baby, who had ceased his chortling long enough to emit a shriek of joy upon seeing his grandfather. "Dada!" he called, and reached for Tupilak's old spotted hand. Tupilak's face softened like a long-cooked stew. The baby cooed and patted his grandfather while Tupilak beamed with pride. The two women looked at each other and shook their heads. Raven wisely waited before he cried for the sunbag to play with. Then, when Tupilak had settled, snoring into a nap, he began his earnest howling, waving his hands as if trying to pull down the sunbag. Tupilak woke up. "Oh, give him anything he wants," he groaned. "Just shut him up." The two women shrugged and pulled down the sunbag. They each, with tooth and muscle, wrapped and knotted the sinew twice more. Their closure was so effective that Raven this time could not open the bag. Knowing that he must act quickly, he rested regretful eyes for a moment on his mama's back and then sped, bag in fist, out the door. He raced to his rock and donned the black-winged cape he'd hidden underneath so long before. His beak plunged through his forehead, and Raven took bird form once again. Grasping the sunbag, fist in beak, then in claws, he dove through the hole in the sky and streaked away to the people whose eyes had grown accustomed once again to the light of the moon, but who still lived without the light of the sun. Raven felt hunger pangs as he flew. On he flapped, but his stomach growled for food. By the time Raven spied the people below fishing in the crooked river by the light of the moon, his wings were trembling with effort. "Gah, gah," croaked Raven weakly. "Give me some fish." "Get your own fish, Raven," said the people. "We hardly have enough for ourselves." "Please," begged Raven, "I'll let out the daylight." "You don't have daylight, Raven," said the people, forgetting that they themselves had asked him to bring the sun. Raven cawed with exasperation. He dropped the sunbag and with his remaining strength rammed at it 3 times, pecking it in tiny holes, out of which sizzled particles of the sun, which tumbled into the sky as sparkling, spinning stars. "He does have something in his bag," cried the people. They rushed to ply Raven with fish. Raven gorged and sucked every bone slick. Then, full of power, he tore open the bag. Out exploded the sun, while people screamed and covered their eyes. In a very short time, they were able to bear again this stupendous light and gratefully prepared for Raven an enormous feast. On the other side of the sky, Tupilak and his family mourned. Some say they got so lonely that they came back to this side of the sky. Others say if they came at all, it was to try to steal the light again. But Tupilak has never been able to take the light for as long as he did for that time. Whenever it disappears and returns again, whenever people watch the moon roll into the sky among the bits of sun that are the stars, they think of Raven. And whenever people hear a baby crying, they remember Raven's trick on Tupilak. There ends our story. And now is the time when the evening's offering will be given and received. Our offering is going to be shared between the ministries of this congregation and a congregant care fund that we use to help members and friends of the congregation when they are in need. We'll have ushers coming around in just one moment, and there will also be a QR code and a link on the screen in front of you if you're at home, and the screen here in the room. Thank you for your generosity. It makes a big difference to your neighbors here and your neighbors far.
A reading by Stephanie Noble entitled In Celebration of the Winter Solstice. Do not be afraid of the darkness. Dark is the rich, fertile earth that cradles the seed, nourishing growth. Dark is the soft night that cradles us to rest. Only in darkness can stars shine across the vastness of space. Only in darkness is the moon's dance so clear. There is mystery woven in the dark, quiet hours. There is magic in the darkness. Do not be afraid. We are born of this magic. It fills our dreams that root, unravel, and reweave themselves in the shelter of the deep, dark night. The dark has its own hue, its own resonance, its own breath. It fills our soul, not with despair, but with promise. Dark is the gestation of our deep and knowing self. Dark is the cave where we rest and renew our soul. We are born of the darkness, and each night we return to the deep, moist womb of our beginnings. Do not be afraid of the darkness, for in the depth of that very darkness comes a first glimpse of our own light, the pure inner light of love and knowing. As it grows, glows, and grows, the darkness recedes. As we shed our light, we shed our fear and revel in the wonder of all that is revealed. So, do not rush the coming of the sun. Do not crave the lengthening of the day. Celebrate the darkness, here and now, a time of richness, a time of joy.
It is so good to be with you on this, the holiest night in many ways of the earth-centered wheel of the year. If you would like to engage in future earth-centered rituals, we are looking to begin gatherings throughout the year, perhaps beginning with Imbolc all the way through the end of the wheel of the year. You can go to tinyurl.com/earth-centered to sign up and be included, and we will publish that in front steps as well. Soon it will be the longest night. We have been inching here day by day for many months. As the Earth's axis tilts this northern hemisphere away from the sun, our sunrises come later, our sunsets earlier. Our evenings have stretched out in front of us, and we have tried to make the most of this time. The cycles go on. Soon we will begin leaning back in towards the central star of this solar system. Winter doesn't last forever. It is time to make space in our lives, in our hearts, for the light again. For now, we must kindle our own flames. As we do so, we recognize that the light is returning to us. We welcome it in. In a moment, we will share the light from our chalice flame. When you came in, you received a candle, and the ushers are about to come down the center aisle and light the candles of people row by row. A reminder, tilt the unlit candle to light it, and then pass the light down the rows. And I invite you to share the light slowly with intention. As we share the light, take time to look around, to watch the light spreading. Each of us holds our own small light, and we use it to illumine this sacred space and sacred night. And once our candles are all lit, we will sing together, "Rise Up, O Flame."
Lights will slowly come up. After the service this evening, you're invited to join in a celebration. I think we're going to be able to have a fire on the patio. We thank the rain gods and goddesses for that. We will have cider and popcorn, and you have a chance to walk the labyrinth following the service. In a moment, I will open the circle and cast that we cast at the beginning of the service and say some words of benediction. And then after that, let's blow out our candles. Spirit of the North, Spirit grounding us of balance, thank you for being with us. Spirit of the West, the water of depth of relationship, thank you for being with us. Spirits of the South, of fire and passion, of transformation, thank you for being with us. Spirits of the East, of air, of breath, of curiosity, thank you for being with us. Beloveds, as you go from here into this evening night, may your spirit be filled by this time we have shared together. May you find yourself at home in the dark, strong in the dark, connected to each other and to this earth home in the dark. And may you make space to welcome the light when the time comes. So be it, friends. Blessed be. Let us go from this service. Let us practice peace. Let us depart in love. Amen. Let's rise.